Hello everybody, great to be back with you once again. The F4 Spanish Championship continues here at Motorland Aragon, the fourth weekend of the season. And my oh my, is the championship battle cooking up a treat. Keanu Al-Azari fighting his way to third position in yesterday's race from 12th on the grid. It'll be even tougher to do that in race 2 because he'll be going off P17. The real headline this weekend so far though is all about the pole on the pole. Matej Gladic turned his pole position into a race win yesterday in fantastic fashion. That's now his second win in a row after winning race 3 at Paul Ricard a few weeks ago. Going into race 2, he starts from pole position once again alongside the Englishman Nathan Tye. It's going to be a really exciting battle from the outset. Hello everybody, Jake Sanson here in the commentary box. It's a little cooler than it was for race 1 yesterday. We had 63 degrees Celsius track temperatures. This morning, it's only a mere 41 degrees Celsius. Doesn't sound that cool, but by comparison to what we had for race 1 yesterday, definitely a lot easier on the drivers in terms of tyre pressures and in terms of the contact surface patch of the tyre. It's going to be an interesting one as well because behind the leading 2 drivers we have Enzo Tarmanitschkel, the Red Bull youngster, and the former European junior karting champion René Lammers. So it'll be fascinating to see how the 2 men square up together on the second row of the grid. As you can see, the starting grid is filling up now. Little bit of a delay to the proceedings after a red flag in the qualifying session earlier on for Euro Cup 3's second race, which is coming up straight after this one. So you can see the cars are just making their way to the starting grid. That gives us a little bit of time to play with heading into the race this morning. And certainly this is the second of 3 races this weekend. Michael Pedersen is going to be lining up 5th on the grid alongside Lukas Flusha, who is right back up into the top 6 again. 6th position on the grid for him. Griffin Peebles and Peter Buzinellos in the top 10, along with Jan Pestrovski and Mattia Kolnagi. There is the racing weekend. Spanish Federation Toyota GR Supra safety car. And hopefully we won't see that too many times in race number 2 this weekend. We certainly saw it a few times yesterday, but we'd like to get through as much of the race without interruption as possible. There is the 37. That is the Cram competition car belonging to Filippo Fiorentino, who's had a really difficult weekend so far through qualifying. The starting grid for this race, of course, based on the second fastest lap times of the drivers in the qualifying session yesterday, because obviously the fastest times set the grid for race 1. The second fastest times set the grid for race 2, and the race 3 grid is the same as race 1 with the top 12 positions reversed. That means that for race 3 later today, Keanu Al-Azari will get to start from pole position as he lined up 12th on the grid yesterday and charged his way through to 3rd. So the fans of the championship leader are likely to be in for a chance to see him win at least 1 race this weekend and complete his fantastic assault on the championship fight. But there are so many interesting factors going into this one, not the least of which is outside the top 10. James Zigotzi lining up alongside Ernesto Rivera, who failed to finish in yesterday's first race. Maxi Restrepo and Juan Cota on 13th and 14th of the grid. Thomas Strauben, 15th on the grid this time, better than he did. Their way. So apologies there for the slight break in transmission. Fortunately, all should be working A-OK now. Was just discussing what is happening outside the top 10 of the starting grid. James Zigotzi and Ernesto Rivera, 11th and 12th on the grid. Maxi Restrepo and Juan Cota on the 7th row of the grid. Thomas Strauben, 15th position on the grid. Better than yesterday, but still not where he wanted to be at all. Adam Hideg, 16th place. It'll be tough for the Hungarian from Cram Motorsport down there in the 8th row of the grid. Keanu Al-Azari going off 17th in this race. And then we had Hyo Yamakoshi, 18th position, the Japanese driver for Motorland Motorsport. Lenny Ritz, the German driver, 19th position. And then Matteo Quintarelli for Santalog. Then Adam Al-Azadi for Technicar. and Gabriel Gomez in the TC Racing crew. TC, of course, standing for Thibaut Courtois, the footballing sensation running his own team. Francisco Macedo, 23rd on the grid for the DXR team alongside Andres Cardenas. Jovan David in the Santalog, who last time out in the seat at Zandvoort was actually in Euro Cup 3, making his debut, made very big impressions there. Goodness knows when we'll see him in the car again. Hopefully it'll be soon. Filippo Fiorentino, 26th on the grid alongside him. Then Tim Gerhardt, Victor Dobrzansky, Nerea Marti back in a single-seater once again, filling in for Leah Block at the GRS Team USA car. And then Alexander Jacobi, 30th on the grid. Preston Lambert all the way down in 31st on the grid for this one, not where the Rodin driver wanted to be at all. Christian Cantu in the second of the Thibaut Courtois racing cars. Then Rehan Hakim, Lorenzo Castillo and Matas Reiber. 35 drivers on the grid for this one. Not entirely sure where the 36th has gone, but certainly a couple of the drivers having issues in yesterday's first race. So we're going to get ourselves ready then for the start of racing. Maciej Gladish and Nathan Tai on the front row of the starting grid. The man starting third on the grid is the Red Bull young gun Enzo Tarnvanijkul from Thailand. He is there, excited and ready to go racing on the second row of the starting grid. And with us down in pit lane is Marietta Evans.
Good morning, Jake. Yeah, so Enzo Tarnvanijkul has a very, very good option today to finish, at least fight for the podium, because he is starting on the second row, P3. That would be his first ever podium in single-seaters. Enzo, how are you feeling right now? Do you think from here you can get in the fight for the podium?
For sure, the speed is quite good. We saw this yesterday too. I feel like the car is in a really good place at the moment. And as long as we get a good start, clean first lap, I think we can fight, definitely.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
So yeah, Enzo Tarnvanijkul going for his first ever podium finish in a single-seater race. He got his best ever finish yesterday, P4, just one place away from the podium. And he's definitely making big strides, considering he's not even been in a single-seater for a year up to this point. René Lammers lining up fourth on the grid. His MP Motorsport car, slightly different in colour scheme to everybody else's. You'll notice that when you look at the front wing, because the front wing and nose cone section is bedecked in the Racing Team Nederland colours that were made famous by his father, Jan Lammers, in the early 2000s in the World Endurance Championship equivalent, and obviously at the Le Mans 24 Hours as well. So keeping those colours going well. So it'll be really exciting to see how they get on. This man has a big opportunity for the Drivex team. Mikael Pedersen, the Dane, hoping that he can turn this into a really strong result. Fifth on the grid is very impressive indeed from him, and certainly throwing his hat into the ring of the MP versus Campos battle. So it'd be great to see Mikael Pedersen put on a good show. There's Lucas Flusha for the KCL squad. It'll be really exciting to see what he can do in this one, having had a bit of a blip mid-season, being back in 6th position on the starting grid again. Shows that he could eat into the gap built up by Keanu Al-Azari to a certain extent. Let's go through the starting grid, though, for this incredible second race of the weekend. Maciej Gladish and Nathan Tai on the front row from Enzo Tarnvanijkul and René Lammers. Mikael Pedersen is alongside Lucas Flusha on the third row of the grid. Griffin Peebles and Peter Buzinellos on row 4. Jan Piotrowski and Mattia Kolnagi rounding out the top 10. James Igozzi is beside Ernesto Rivera on the 6th row. Then on row 7, it's Maxi Restrepo, the Colombian, alongside Juan Cota in 14th. Thomas Strauven way down in 15th on the grid alongside the Hungarian Adam Hideg. Championship leader Keanu Al-Azari goes off P17 alongside Hiro Yamakoshi. Then Lenny Reeds and Matteo Quintarelli. Adam Al-Azari, Keanu's younger brother, alongside Gabriel Gomez, the Brazilian. Francisco Macedo and Andres Cardenas on the 12th row of the starting grid. Then it is Jovan David, the Sri Lankan bat. Filippo Fiorentino, 26th on the grid from Tim Gerhardt, Victor Dobrzansky, Nerea Marti and Alexander Jacobi. And then rounding out the field behind them, we have in 31st position, down at the tail end, Preston Lambert and Christian Cantu from Rehan Hakim, Lorenzo Castillo and Matas Reiber. So all of the drivers then going off the grid. They are on their rolling formation lap now, and it'll be fascinating to see who gets the best of them in this second race. Remember, it's 25 minutes plus 1 lap rather than 30 minutes plus 1 lap, and that also means that it's the top 9 cars that score points, not the top 10 cars. So there is not 25 points for the win in this race, there is only 18. And then the point score is 15 for second, 12 for third, and then it's 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1, down to 9th place for 1 point. So there's fewer points on offer in this shorter race, but Maciej Gladiš is still hoping that he adds to the 25 he scored yesterday for the win to grab another 18 this morning. Certainly would be very impressive indeed for the Pole, who is definitely getting himself into the fight for this championship now. Third in the standings with a very consistent score. And very impressive to see how he has worked his way forward. In fact, only he and Keanu Al-Azadi in the top 6 of the Drivers' Championship have yet to fail to finish a race. So they have finished every race this season. Maciej Gladiš has actually finished every race this season in the top 20, which is something that even Keanu Al-Azadi cannot say he's done. So a very impressive performance so far from the Polish driver, and this second half of the season really does seem to be his opportunity. It's hilarious that the F4 Spanish Championship has a whole waft of Polish supporters in our chat box in the YouTube chat. They're obviously not just supporting Maciej Gladiš, but also Jan Piotrowski as well. Pretty fantastic to see how it all continues. Anthony Koenig is watching along for Sri Lanka. Not many of those drivers floating around the scenes, are there, he says? Well, no, and certainly none as impressive as Ivan David. There are a few Sri Lankans in the motorsport world now, but Ivan was definitely the man who set the trend. Silver medalist in the FIA Motorsport Games at Paul Ricard in 2022. Did a fantastic job as a senior karter. Now he's doing a great job as a single-seater racer. Already a point scorer in Euro Cup 3 and in Spanish F4. Cars lining up on the grid. Nathan Tighe taking his position second on the grid. What can the British driver do? His father was a Briscoe F2 stock car racer. They've come from the short oval world through the British karting scene under the tutelage of Oliver Rowland, who is now, of course, a Formula E star and won the London E-Prix last week. But now there is an opportunity to see what his young protege can do, going wheel to the first corner with Maciej Gladiš. The contenders are getting themselves into position. They will form up in their, trying to do the math very quickly, 18 rows of the starting grid, and then they will charge forward to turn 1. It's going to be a fascinating first race of the day and second race of the weekend. This is going to be a tough one for all of the contenders. The lights are coming on. When they go out, we'll be racing. Let's go! Excellent start up at the front of the field as the drivers work their way forward initially. Maciej Gladiš is going to hold on from Nathan Tighe. René Lammers has got a great start and works his way through ahead of Enzo Tyrmanichkul. So Lammers has got a beauty as they run through. Spinners in the midfield. One of the Technicars going around, I'm afraid. And one of the Santalocks taking avoiding action as well by the look of it. So already a little bit of flotsam and jetsam as the drivers work their way forward. It's not been the easiest start for anybody, but we've certainly had an intriguing battle of it so far, as the drivers are definitely showcasing a bit of freneticism in the opening part of this race. So as the cars work their way through in the opening couple of corners, Gladiš leads, then Tighe, Lammers, Tyrmanichkul, Pedersen and Flusha. Peebles is in the mix there as well. One of the MPs going wide. That could well have been Keanu Al-Azadi working his way forward. But what a start from René Lammers. Now hustling Nathan Tighe on the first lap. Trying to see who it was that spun out initially. It was Hiro Yamakoshi and Matteo Quintarelli, and that's Quintarelli with big damage. That's going to be a safety car. No question about that. So safety car is definitely going to be called for Matteo Quintarelli's car. It's beached on the sidelines on the exit of turn 2, and there is the safety car. That was inevitable. So with Matteo Quintarelli sadly out of the race, that certainly gives his colleagues a great opportunity to work their way further forwards. There is the safety car ready to catch them on the back straight. So Maciej Gladiš leads from Nathan Tighe, René Lammers, Enzo Tyrmanichkul and Mikkel Pedersen. Then it is Flusha in P6 ahead of Peebles. Piotrowski going well up in 8th position, making a place on the start already. Then Mattia Kolnagi and Peter Buzinelos. Igotzi in 11th place. And Ernesto Rivera in 12th. And Keanu Al-Azadi is already up to 13th. So he's made up 4 places on the first lap. Unfortunate for him that there was a safety car, really, because he was already on a bandwagon and could have made up even more time. Then in 14th, it's Juan Cota, ahead of Thomas Strauven. Maxi Restrepo is there in 16th from Adam Hideg. There is the stricken Hiro Yamakoshi, the Japanese driver, missing a front wing. So the Monlau driver, in fact, it's not the Technicar, it's the Monlau that has gone off at the first corner. And so very unfortunate for Hiro Yamakoshi. He'll get back to the pits and hopefully change the front nose cone section. So we're getting ourselves ready to obviously extricate that car from the scene. I was going through the field and I got up as far as about Maxi Restrepo, I think, in 16th place. Adam Ideg is 17th and Andres Cardenas in 18th from Lenny Reed and Adam Alazari. Ivan David's already made up some places, 21st for the Sri Lankan, 22nd for Gabriel Gomez. And then Filippo Fiorentino in 23rd ahead of Tim Gerhards and Francisco Macedo, Victor Dobrzansky and Nadia Marti. And then Preston Lambert in 28th position from Matas Reiber and Alex Jacobi, Christian Cantu, Rahan Hakim and Lorenzo Castillo. And this man, Hiro Yamakoshi, 34th position. Contact with Matteo Quintarelli into the first corner by the look of it. And he's got the damage to the front nose, so he will come in to either repair that or park the car for good. So here in pit lane is the Japanese driver, a very talented man is Hiro Yamakoshi. He would do occasional European-grade karting races for Energy Course when his budget allowed him to do so in his younger days, but was always very impressive to jump straight into the top 10 on lap pace, considering he'd done nowhere near the percentage of testing of his fellows. So he's definitely a real talent for the future. Let's have another look at the start again. Will give us a bit of an indication as to how it all kicked off. You need to look in the middle of the field to see Matteo Quintarelli and the Santalot going wheel to wheel into turn one, and there it is. So it looked initially as though Matteo Quintarelli was on the inside of Yamakoshi, just tapped his front wing, and unfortunately that was never going to be anything other than a retirement for both drivers. Certainly for Matteo Quintarelli with the major damage to the right front. So that's game over for him, very sadly. Meanwhile though, the safety car is out on course. We're waiting for announcement that the safety car is coming in. It hasn't really been given to us just yet, but certainly for the time being. Oh, safety car in this lap. There you go. Just as I was saying, we haven't had the message. There is the message. So it's a quick one. They were able to move Matteo Quintarelli's car very quickly. So now Maciej Gladiš gets to run from the start behind the rest of the field. The safety car is going to peel away and leave them. There's going to be some really good overtakes coming from this field. Everybody just getting themselves dialed in and ready for another restart once again. René Lammers channeling his inner Kimi Räikkönen there by the look of it. I haven't seen him warm up his tyres that often down the back straight. Everybody else obviously swarming around. But now the drivers are getting themselves ready for this restart. Maciej Gladiš in front of Nathan Ty, René Lammers, Enzo Tarvanichgil, Mikael Pedersen and Lucas Flusha ahead of Griffin Peebles, Jan Piotrowski, Mattia Kolnagi and Peter Buzinellos. 35 of the drivers started, 34 of them still running. Hiro Yamakoshi's race has already restarted because he's got to try and catch up to the back of this field. Maciej Gladiš drops the hammer on the restart, and the number 7 Orlen car has got straight out into the lead in front of Nathan Ty, who is in the clutches of Lammers and Tarvanichgil on the restart as they come up over the top of the crest. It's green, 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 green here at Aragon once again. So Gladiš leading the way from Ty, Lammers, Tarvanichgil, Pedersen and Flusha. Lammers is already setting about after Nathan Ty as he works his way forward, looking for a good opportunity to push the car just that little bit more, hoping for an increase in the momentum as he works his way further forward. This is going to be an interesting one. Up the hill, Maciej Gladiš has got a perfect restart. No reason to be cautious at the moment. Certainly no need to be conservative either. Definitely having a very solid race of it at the moment from the sharp end of the field, that is for sure. So Maciej Gladiš leads Ty, Lammers, Tarvanichgil, Pedersen and Flusha. There's yellow flags going on behind us, so there's clearly been an incident somewhere else on the course. Need to figure out where that's happened, but there's obviously been an issue, but it's only a brief yellow. So clearly a car going off and then rejoining. Hopefully this is going to be a race that takes us essentially through to the green, through to the checkered flag 18 minutes from now. And Maciej Gladiš has got a perfect restart. Look at that. He's already put about 5 car lengths between himself and Nathan Ty. For René Lammers, his mission is now to get past the Englishman up in front. So Nathan Ty, who was part of the Sony Kart factory outfit in the karting world, did a lot for them in terms of not just racecraft, but also the development of the chassis through the last 3-4 years of racing. Has been a real go-to. Oh, bit of a run wide there for, now that's got to be Griffin Peebles, hasn't it, making the mistake. Just in front of Jan Piotrowski, who is having a look to try and make the overtaking move. So Petrovski is going to get the run here on Peebles. Meanwhile, Agozzi is going to take on Busanellos, and here's Chiaro Alazzari making his bid on Ernesto Rivera. These are two championship contenders going wheel to wheel, and Chiaro Alazzari runs wide, almost into the back of Agozzi. Well, that's the first time in race trim this weekend that things haven't gone well for Chiaro Alazzari. He manages to catch it, but that was the first proper mistake, you could say. I mean, he was forced into that situation in the braking zone by not being able to get out of the throttle in a decent lick of time. But he manages to recover without contact, so that's really important for Chiaro Alazzari. He's now going to take back an opportunity now to go wheel to wheel with Juan Cota. So they go up the crest. He's going to take on the young man who is being supported by the Spanish Federation, Juan Cota. Got a scholarship to race for a percentage of this season, as too did Eloy Gonzalez. Unfortunately, Gonzalez hurt his hand earlier in the season. That looked like Lammers trying to take on Nathan Ty for second position. Is that going to be enough to get through? He's certainly swarming around. He's run a little bit deep, and that's Enzo Tovanichkil trying to get back in on the inside line. He dives in. Lammers is not going to leave him a lot of space. And as they work their way through, Tovanichkil is going to be run out wide. Lammers is going to get through. Tovanichkil will drop behind Pedersen and Flusha by the look of it. Dear oh dear, Tovanichkil run out of road there by René Lammers, who was not going to give him any space at all. Well, Tovanichkil's got back in fourth place, but here comes Pedersen, diving in on the inside of the Drivex. Can Pedersen get there? Tovanichkil drifts out wide, comes back in alongside him. Watch out for Lucas Flusha. He's going to try and dive in past both of them. Pedersen is not backing down. Pedersen to the left side of Tovanichkil. He'll have the inside line for the left-hander. He gets through. Flusha's going to get through on the inside line as well. Brilliant from Michael Pedersen. Excellent work from Michael Pedersen up into fourth position. Now Tovanichkil slightly behind him. Flusha, Petrovski and Mattia Kolnagi all in the mix. Watch for Kolnagi in the all jet black machine at the back of this quintet. He's got a chance here to make big points on Chiaro Alazzari for the championship fight. But Pedersen wheel to wheel with Flusha. Up the inside comes Petrovski. Good move to get into sixth position plus Tovanichkil. Pedersen runs out wide. Flusha's got them all. Brilliant from Lucas Flusha. So Lucas Flusha in a P4, excellent racecraft. Now there's going to be a bit of a badinage into turn one as Pedersen tries to shake off Tovanichkil and watches round the outside of Tovanichkil. Comes the other super pole. Jan Petrovski gets through on Enzo Tovanichkil, but he runs wide in the process. So is that going to be an illegal overtake as far as the officials are concerned? Mattia Kolnagi, meanwhile, deals with Griffin Peebles for the time being. Very tough racing out there at Aragon. But the F4 Spanish Championship was never going to be dull. Here goes Flusha in P4. Fifth is Pedersen. Sixth is Petrovski in front of Tovanichkil. Here comes Kolnagi. He wants to take on Enzo Tovanichkil. Runs out wide on the curb in the attempt to get through. Tovanichkil swarming around. Let's have another look at this. So this is the restart, I do believe, that we're seeing a replay of. We'll see a couple more highlights, I think, as the drivers come through. But certainly Maciej Gladish ahead of Nathan Ty and René Lammers. Lucas Flusha having a great run in fourth position now. And he's got clear of Michael Pedersen and Jan Petrovski. Definitely the race of the season so far for Michael Pedersen. And he is really showcasing his strength there in fifth position. Good to see the Dane really sit up and pay attention in the front end of the field. He's right in the middle of this battle for the top five. He's got a chance to come back at Lucas Flusha later in the race. Meanwhile, René Lammers is just ticking off the laps, trying to close up on Nathan Ty, as we are still under green flag conditions here in Spanish F4. It's one of the cleanest races we've had for a while. But Peter Busanellos and James Igozzi have now joined in the slipstream of Griffin Peebles. Here comes Chiaro Alazzari in the background, trying to go three wide here with Rivera and Strauven. So Alazzari has got the inside line. He's set this up very neatly. Can he finish off the move on Strauven and his rival Rivera? Yes, he can. Excellent work from Alazzari. So that puts Chiaro Alazzari into 13th now behind Juan Cota, as Mattia Kolnagi has got through now on Enzo Tovanichkil. So Mattia Kolnagi picks up another couple of crucial points in the championship fight against Chiaro Alazzari. And round the outside of Griffin Peebles, Peter Busanellos really rolling up his sleeves. Excellent gusto from the Rodin driver, but it's not going to work, and it's going to backfire because James Igozzi, the young man from Miami, the Red Bull colours, he's going to come up alongside and get through. Is he? Yes, he has. So James Igozzi gets through and now tucks in behind Griffin Peebles. 12th place for Juan Cota behind Busanellos now. then Keanu Alizari in 13th. So there is Juan Cota in the number 4 car. And a bit of a run wide from Buzanelos. He did not need that. Juan Cota's now going to be on him like a ton of bricks. Down to the carousel, dropping through the right-left. And Keanu Alizari just being patient here, sat behind Juan Cota, hoping for a little bit of an acceleration burst out of the turn. Cota's done well there to hold the line, though. So this is a replay of Colnaghi dueling away with so many. This is Keanu Alizari's 3-into-1 move. Very nicely handled. He'd set that up halfway round the back straight, to be fair. And that was always going to be a Keanu Alizari success story. So the battle continues. Cota in 12th, Alizari 13th, then Ernesto Rivera desperately trying to make up for the time lost and the points lost yesterday. Then Strauven, then Cardenas, Hideg, Restrepo, and then you've got a bit of a gap back to Gomez, Alizari and Reed. What has happened to Ivan David? Looks like Ivan David has dropped away from the fray. So I'm afraid he's down at the back end of the field with the likes of Lorenzo Castillo and Rehan Hakim. I think there's been 2 separate incidents there. Up the inside again. Whoa! Big mistake from Strauven. Strauven locks up big time into the hairpin, and I'm afraid that's going to cost him a lot of time. He almost cannons into the back of Alizari and Cota. And Alizari got the move done on the young Spaniard, up to 12th position, and Thomas Strauven recovers just in front of the Colombian Maxi Restrepo. So a very dramatic first race then, and a very dramatic second race too. Gladish, Tai, Lammers, Flusha, Pedersen, Bishrovsky. The point scorers behind them are Colnaghi, Tarvanitschkel, Peebles and Igotzi. Those second fastest lap times from qualifying have really showcased a different structure to this race. Keanu Alizari has made up 5 grid positions, 17th on the start, 12th position now. He's still got time to get into the points. He just wants to deaden some of the damage in the championship fight. But the way things are currently going, with Mattia Colnaghi down in 7th place, he's guaranteed to not lose the lead of the championship this weekend. Colnaghi has to win both race 2 and race 3 for Alizari to even have a chance of losing the lead. But certainly doing a fantastic job at the moment. There is your leader, Maciej Gladish, for the KCL MP team. Nathan Tice 2nd, then Lammers, then Flusha, then Pedersen, then Jan Piotrowski. He's 6th at the moment. Great to see the 2 Polish aces up in the top 6 on consistency and on merit. Nathan Tice trying to shake off René Lammers. This 4th place battle is about to get interesting as well. Yellow flags further back. We've had somebody going off the road. That's one of the crams by the look of it. So somebody going off the road and dropping back. It's Filippo Fiorentino. So Fiorentino has dropped to the back of the field, I'm afraid to say. Everybody else is just trying to keep this race battle going. But this is about to get spicy for 3rd position, for 2nd place, between Nathan Tice and René Lammers. Further back in 4th, we've got Flusha, Pedersen, Bishrovsky and Tarvanitschkel. He's got back in front of Colnaghi. There's the recovering Filippo Fiorentino. A quick spin, but it's ruined his chances of points, I'm afraid. So Filippo Fiorentino is now just going to try and get to the end of this race with a little bit of an extended test session now, the order of the day. Back at the front, though, it's all about Maciej Gladish, Nathan Tice and René Lammers. Here's the battle for 4th, 5th, 6th. That's Jan Piotrowski. 6th place behind Mikkel Pedersen and Lucas Flusha in P4. It's been a very productive weekend at the office for the Flusha family so far. Because yesterday, his younger sister Luna took her 4th win in the Champions of the Future Academy, the young Mercedes F1 Junior. So it looks like there's a lot of silverware coming to the Flusha family this weekend. Certainly if Lucas Flusha can get 1 place further up, if he can catch and pass René Lammers, or if he can pick up the pieces if something happens to the guys up front, then Lucas Flusha is going to come away from this race with some silverware. But mainly for him, it's about the positivity and getting back to the front end of the field on momentum, because of course he was doing a very good job initially in this season, but it all started to fall away from him. Now this is getting really racy for Jan Piotrowski. Piotrowski is really starting to put pressure now on Mikkel Pedersen. I think this could be an overtake here from Piotrowski. Looking really strong down the back straight. Jan Piotrowski has Mikkel Pedersen lined up. So this could be an opportunity for the Pole to make his way into 5th position. He has to think about it. Pedersen knows he's there. Pulls across to stop Petrowski coming through. But Petrowski's going to go long into the corner. Oh, very tough chop there from Pedersen to ensure that Petrowski has no point of access. So now Jan Petrowski's going for it again up the hill. He's got plenty of opportunity still. 7.5 minutes left on the clock. Over the line once again, and there's a great battle going on further back. That looks like Igotzi going wheel to wheel with Kolnagi. Kolnagi's really struggling here. He's down to 9th position. And if James Igotzi gets him, that's going to put him out of the points. So Kolnagi is only looking at scoring 1 championship point here. Igotzi and Keanu Alazari are going to be all over him. Alazari now up to 11th past Peter Buzinelos. So a great recovery drive for Keanu Alazari in this race as well. Obviously nowhere near as bombastic as yesterday was, but then the track conditions are very different compared to what they were yesterday. 63 degrees Celsius track temperature yesterday. It's about 42, 43 degrees this morning. By the time we get to race 3, it'll be back to the conditions that Keanu Alazari really likes, and he'll be going from that race from pole position. So that will essentially be a race of Leonardo DiCaprio, Catch Me If You Can. Maciej Gladish, Nathan Tai, René Lammers. They've all spread out a little bit in the top 3. Lucas Flusha has pulled clear of Pedersen and Petrowski, but Jan Petrowski is determined to get himself up into 5th position ahead of Mikkel Pedersen if he can find the opportunity. It's going to be a very interesting situation to try and work his way further forward. So Maciej Gladish leads the race with about 2 seconds now on Nathan Tai, who has the fastest lap of the race, by the way. René Lammers in 3rd from Flusha, Pedersen, Petrowski, Tarvanichko, Peebles, Kolnagi, and that's your point scorers, because only the top 9 score points in 25-minute races. In 30-minute races, it's the top 10. But in 25-minute races, there's 18 points for the win, 15 for 2nd, 12 for 3rd, so on, with 1 point down to... Oh, that looked like a bit of a challenge there in front of the battle. I think that was Petrowski really having a proper go at Pedersen. Meanwhile, round the outside, this is Igotzi wrestling with Keanu Alazari. Alazari goes off the road, comes back on again. Oh, and they bang wheels. Oh, my goodness. James Igotzi and Keanu Alazari having a big fight. Here's Petrowski, dives in on the inside for 5th position. Has Petrowski made that stick? He runs wide, he gets back on having lost 2 places. So that's Tarvanichko up to 5th position again. The young Thai as Petrowski drops to 8th behind Griffin Peebles, and this is an absolute war as Alazari has rejoined behind Igotzi and Buzinelos, and now Kota trying to squeeze back through again as well. Oh, this is furious stuff, and the red mist will be down for Keanu Alazari. And Esther de Verda tried to get past him, couldn't make it. Well, this is a proper battle royale. It's like World of Warcraft with steering wheels out there, as they run through the far side of the course, dropping down the carousel, the leading bunch. And here comes the gaggle behind, led by Peter Buzinelos now, I do believe. No, that's Kolnagi, my apologies. So Maciej Kolnagi out in front of this long train of cars. We need to see that again, because I tell you what, Alazari got so close. You can see in the left of your screen there, Alazari and Igotzi getting close. But this is the big one. Petrowski diving up the inside of Pedersen. They both drifted wide, and Enzo Tarvanichko pulls the Hamilton on the 2 of them. Dives through in fantastic fashion and takes away the place. So Tarvanichko now P5 from Pedersen, Peebles and Petrowski. This is the battle further back. We've got Buzinelos in 10th, Igotzi 11th, Kota in 12th, 13th is Alazari. This is the battle for the best of the rest outside the points. Now Jan Petrowski will not be happy with Mikkel Pedersen, so he'll be wanting to try and take this back again. But these 5 cars are the bottom 5 in the points. Tarvanichko, Pedersen, Peebles, Petrowski and Kolnagi. Here comes Alazari, trying to take on Juan Kota once again. Thinks better of it, has to wait. Ernesto de Vera tucking in behind him. There's a little bit of a duel further back as well, as that's Straven and Cardenas, I think, are going wheel to wheel. Cardenas and Hideg even. So this is definitely getting to be pretty spicy now, as Adam Hideg crosses the line fractionally in front of Andres Cardenas, the Peruvian. So they come off the turn again, up the crest, sliding out of the first couple of corners, and it looks as though Alazari is down to 15th place now. Hideg is down to 14th, so Rivera has got through on Keanu Alazari, not finding these conditions particularly easy to cope with. There's been a big lock-up up in front. Did that turn into an accident? Doesn't look like it. There's no abandoned cars on the sidelines, just a lock-up. Maciej Gladiš has taken back the fastest lap of the race from Nathan Ty. These guys are really having a proper squabble of it. The thing is as well is that you don't want to get too feisty in this race and pick up damage, because then you're going to have problems heading into the next race this afternoon. You don't want to be in a situation where you've got difficulties adapting to the struggles of the car. So Maciej Gladiš continues to lead, but he has been so much stronger even than he was yesterday. He's just pulled clear of Nathan Ty and René Lammers, and he is dominating proceedings here at Aragon. This is such a crushing victory. He seems like he's a bit like a hungry man who's just figured out how to get into the fridge. Once you manage to get that first victory, he's unstoppable. And Maciej Gladiš has not lost a race now since race 3 at Paul Ricard. So this is going to continue to be an exceptional drive for the young Polish star. His countryman is trying to stay in the points. It's not easy for him at the moment. Here's the battle of a 10th. Musanelos, Igotzi, Kota, Straven, Rivera and Alazari, who's now dropped back off the queue. So too has Rivera. 16th place for Cardenas, then Gomez, Hideg, Reed, Gerhards, Restrepo, Macedo. Adam Alazari struggling in this race, and then we've got Preston Lambert from Matis Reiber, Nerea Marti, Victor Dobrzhansky, Ivan David recovering after what we think was an earlier spin, and then Jacobi, Cantu, Castillo, Hakim and Fiorentino. Yamakoshi is still in the race, but he's right down at the back by about half a minute. And there is René Lammers, the Dutchman, hoping to emulate Max Verstappen to become the latest son of a motorsport legend to work his way up to Formula One. Isn't it amazing? You wait for a decent race driver at the top pedigree from the Netherlands, and then two sons of F1 stars come along at once. So René Lammers doing his best. There's Lucas Flusha, emulating his older brother Lorenzo. Really rode the curb on the way through the bottom of the carousel there. Managed to let the car essentially catch it, a bit like a skateboard on a railing, and allow the car to just drift its way through. Very smart work from Lucas Flusha there. There is Enzo Tarmadichkul, who's been very patient in this race, allowed the opportunities to come back to him after losing out initially, just letting the squabbles around him give him another chance. He's not going to get the podium today in race 2. He might get it in race 3 later, but certainly these are going to be his best 2 results in car racing, Enzo Tarmadichkul. So a bit like Maciej Gladiš, this could be the uncorking of the bottle as far as his progress and development are concerned. Time is run down to 0. So on the next lap, Maciej Gladiš will be on the final lap. Here's another terrific battle going down the back straight. This is going to be a chance now for Cardenas and Gabriel Gomez in the Thibaut Courtois car. Battling away for position. Oh no, sorry, this is Kolnagi on Piotrowski. I thought we were looking further back. So Kolnagi gets the move then on Jan Piotrowski. And there's not a lot Piotrowski can do. He has to let Maciej Kolnagi go. So Kolnagi is going to take 2 points off the championship lead of Chiara Malazari, but that's all. And Maciej Gladiš, of course, is going to move into second position in the Drivers' Championship with his 3rd win in a row if he keeps this going. 18 points going his way. Maciej Gladiš doing a fantastic job out front. In the 30-minute race, he was exceptional. In the 25-minute race, there's only been 1 safety car rather than 3. So he's been able to extend his gap and showcase what he can really do. Paul Ricard was clearly no fluke. Race 1 yesterday was clearly no fluke either. Maciej Gladiš has now finally figured out how to win races at the front of the F4 Spanish Championship, and it's going to be very hard to stop him. This is going to be a bit like Sebastian Vettel in 2009 in Formula 1, trying to catch up to the hard work done by Jenson Button in the early phase of that season. Maciej Gladiš is going to be a bit of a warrior for the rest of this season, trying to take points after points after points out of his rivals. But certainly 2 wins in a row here and 3 in a row in the championship is a perfect tonic for Maciej Gladiš. Out through the final chicane section onto the back straight, and the Polish sensation has been absolutely majestic here. Great performance to see him do such an exceptional turnaround mid-season, and it is wonderful to see how much progress he's made. When he crosses the line, he will have scored 68 points in the last 3 races. That is the maximum. Into the left, right, left for the final time. Then comes the youngster, Maciej Gladish. He's been absolutely monstrous this weekend. He's been unstoppable, and they haven't stopped him yet. Maciej Gladish takes his second win of the weekend here at Motorland Aragon. What a dominant display from Maciej Gladish. Oh, superb. Just unstoppable. Unstoppable, Maciej Gladish. Nathan Ty takes another second place finish, equaling his best result of the season so far. And René Lammers is on the podium in third place. Good run from the Dutchman today. Lucas Flusha drove beautifully to go from P6 to P4. And a good run too from Enzo Tarmanichkil, top 5 for the second race in a row. But the man on top is Maciej Gladish. Absolutely superb. 2 in a row now this weekend at Aragon, and 3 in a row in the championship fight. What an amazing display. And that, of course, now puts him on a grand total of 127 compared to Keanu Alazari on 153. This is going to be quite a challenge now in the championship. We thought it was going to be Strauven, Flusha and Alazari for the championship fight. Then we thought Rivera was going to creep into it. Then we thought Mattia Colnaghi was going to take the second win. We were all wrong. In the last 3 races, it's been all about Maciej Gladish. Mattia Colnaghi obviously picked up the first 2 wins at Paul Ricard, so he's not out of it. But certainly the momentum is with the pole. Extraordinary performances. The final points, by the way, go to Jan Piotrowski in P6. What a recovery from Jan Piotrowski. He kept it clean and did a fantastic job. Other drivers exceeded track limits, which dropped them out of the points, by the way. 7th for Colnaghi, so he picks up 4 points. Mikael Pedersen picks up 8th place, and Juan Cota picks up the final point in P9. The top 7 drivers in this race were all rookies. Very impressive indeed. But the victory going the way of Maciej Gladish for the 2nd race in a row this weekend. So impressive. And such a fantastic young talent. The former winner of the FIA Karting Academy Trophy, the championship that gave us Charles Leclerc. So it's not particularly unsurprising to see that with that kind of pedigree and that kind of talent, it's going to be a very successful future for young Maciej Gladish. Raced in karting under the tutelage of Ricky Flynn, the man who gave us Zhou Guanyu, Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, all now in Formula One. 2 of them race winners. But what a fantastic performance from Maciej Gladish, who continues that incredible school with more great silverware. Nathan Ty can be very happy with that in 2nd position. You've got to remember the British driver operates on a fraction of the percentage of the budget of the other drivers around him. If you come from a racing family that's in the short oval stock car and banger racing world, you don't have a lot of money to play with, so you have to let your talent do all the speaking for you. And it's excellent, excellent work from Nathan Ty. What a performance from the young Englishman. There is his father, Nathan Ty Sr. Great to see him doing an excellent job. René Lammers following in his father's footsteps as well in 3rd. But here comes Maciej Gladish. How about that? The top 3 drivers in this race all have famous racing fathers back home in their native lands. Jan Lammers, father of René. Nathan Ty Sr., father of Nathan Ty Jr. And Adam Gladish, of course, who was a great circuit racer in his own right. Now watching his young son, Maciej, do such a brilliant job. 2 out of 2 this weekend and 3 in a row. Maciej Gladish is now 2nd in the Drivers' Championship. What a recovery this season. After a couple of weekends of hardship at the start of the year, now Maciej Gladish is right up at the sharp end of this championship fight. Great to see, really great to see. His father, Adam, is there in the orange t-shirt. But there are so many people here to congratulate him. He's worked so hard for this, and it's great to see Maciej Gladish doing such a great job now that he's made the jump up to single-seaters. He always had a rough ride in karting. It was never quite perfect. He did win the Karting Academy Trophy for single-make machinery But this is where it counts. All those hard days where it all went wrong in karting now have turned into a bit of a pedigree driver in single-seaters. He's congratulated by both René Lammers and Nathan Tye, who couldn't catch him today. Excellent, excellent job from Maciej Gladiš. What a phenomenal result for the pole. So an excellent run from all of the contenders in Spanish F4. We only had a couple of moments that really dropped us out of it. Iu Yamakoshi having a moment there on the start. Marietta Evans is with René Lammers down in pit lane.
And René Lammers, who I believe P5 had been his best result, and finally he has achieved his first podium in the category. What does this podium mean to you?
Well, I mean, I think this just shows improvement. You know, it's been a very, very difficult season for me, not getting any podiums or wins. Finally, we're a step closer to the win. Finally, we have a decent result. Yeah, managed to get a good launch from P4 straight into P3 and managed to keep it for the whole race. So yeah, this definitely shows a lot of improvement.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
First podium in car racing for young René Lammers. Excellent result for him, and his father will be very proud indeed. Let's hear from Nathan Tye.
Nathan Tye, I believe this is the second time you're going to visit the podium.
Yeah, we had a podium in Portimao, which was also really good. But yeah, we've been strong the whole week here. We've been really, really good and promising. And yeah, just happy to manage to get the result again and be on the podium again. But hopefully next time will be the top step and not the second.
How difficult, how challenging was to keep concentrated for all those laps in the heat in these conditions?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely not easy with the extreme weather and the track conditions as they are. Was difficult to manage, and coming from England as well, where it's raining and cold every day, makes you feel even more. But no, it was.
Tell me about it.
Exactly, yeah. We was really happy with the car. The team have done an amazing job all week, and yeah, let's push for more.
What do you think you can achieve now in this afternoon, having seen that you do have the pace to fight?
Yeah, I feel like we have some pace for the last race. A bit unfortunate in qualifying with something that was out of my control. But no, I know I have one of the best cars on the grid and I can push through. So yeah, excited for the last one.
Superb effort. Well done. Congratulations.
Confidence rather than arrogance there for Nathan Tye. Knows he's got a good car underneath him. Hopefully we'll be able to hear from the race winner, the Polish star from pole. It is Maciej Gladiš.
Maciej Gladiš has been so far absolutely unstoppable. What's your secret?
I don't know. Just the car was mega, and I think we worked really hard through 2 days of testing, like 3 days ago, and I think everything worked really well. The car is mega. The pace was very good. I'm surprised the track was so good with that. I went just 1 turn slower than the qualifying. So yeah, I'm very happy that I scored so many points, and really looking forward to race 3, where I'm starting from 5th. Will be quite hard because, you know, every time I started from 1st and was a bit easier because I didn't have many battles with other drivers, and now I'll have to climb myself up and hope so we will make it 3 out of 3. But yeah, really looking forward.
Good luck. Thank you.
An extraordinary weekend so far from Maciej Gladiš. It's going to be very difficult indeed to do the triple, but he's already done the hard work this weekend and slashed his deficit in the championship fight to just a handful of points now. He's right there in the mix to fight for this championship. By my mathematics, he's only 28 points back from Chiara Malazzari now, essentially cutting the championship lead almost in half. But of course, for the race later on today, which is a full 25-pointer, Chiara Malazzari is going to be starting from pole position. So it's going to be very difficult to see Maciej Gladiš take the lead of the championship away from Chiara Malazzari, or certainly get it down to a handful of points with the young man from Dubai starting so high up on the grid. Malazzari didn't score points on this occasion. There are the top 10 results. Maciej Gladiš taking the win from Nathan Tye and René Lammers. Lucas Flusha, P4 from Enzo Tarmanichkul. Jan Piotrowski in P6 in front of Matej Kolnagi, Mikael Pedersen and Juan Cota. Thomas Strauven, the first of the drivers not to score. James Zagotzi, 11th from Adam Hideg. Tim Gerhards and Chiara Malazzari, 14th. Andres Cardenas from Griffin Peebles. Maximus Trepo. Preston Lambert, Adam Alazzari and Lenny Reed ahead of Ivan David. Francisco Macedo, Peter Businelos, Matis Reiber and Ernesto Rivera all the way down to 25th then in the end. Christian Cantu, Gabriel Gomez, Lorenzo Castillo, Rehan Hakim and Filippo Fiorentino. The last stragglers, Alex Jacobi, Nerea Marti, Victor Dobzhansky, and Hiro Yamakoshi, who parked it after a couple of laps. Matteo Quintarelli was out instantly. So a fascinating challenge then. We are going to get to see the podium ceremony this time for the F4 Spanish Championship. We had a logistical problem with the timetable yesterday that meant we weren't able to do so. But now we will get to welcome the drivers to the podium in the F4 Spanish Championship, Motorland Aragon Race 2. Round 4 of this championship, and 3 very deserving drivers on the podium. The Dutchman, René Lammers, will take his first ever podium finish in car racing. It's a big moment indeed for him, and he certainly is very deserving of the accolade. Second for Nathan Tighe, second podium finish in car racing as well. But the man on top, Maciej Gladic, unbeatable at this point in proceedings. So we'll wait for the 3 drivers to make their way to the podium ceremony. It's a very exciting moment for them. It's also a very jubilant moment for the team. For KCL by MP, they can be very happy. Should be very, very close indeed there. Apologies, we just lost a picture on the podium. We'll hopefully try to get it back just in time to see the drivers lift the trophies on the podium. But what a fantastic result it is for René Lammers coming home in 3rd place. Nathan Tighe in 2nd position, and Maciej Gladic coming through for a 2nd win in a row this weekend, a 3rd win in a row in the F4 Spanish Championship 2024. An absolutely spectacular result for all of the contenders. They really have been fantastic since the safety car period. Well, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get the pictures back to the podium, so we are obviously going to move on to the 2nd race of the weekend for Euro Cup 3, but there will be a 3rd F4 Spanish Championship race later on today. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You'll never miss a race in the 2024 Championship season. From Jake Stanton here in the commentary box, we will continue with F4 Spanish Championship a little later this afternoon for race 3. Stick around, Euro Cup 3 is right around the bend. Adios, amigos.